It was a hot summer afternoon in a quiet suburban neighborhood in the Midwest, the kind of day where the sun beat down relentlessly and the air hung thick with humidity, making everything feel just a little too close. In this ordinary setting, something extraordinary was about to unfold, a story that would leave the officers involved questioning their decisions for the rest of their lives. Her name was Jasmine Carter, a 34-year-old single mother and a small business owner who had built her life from the ground up. She ran a modest but successful flower shop in the heart of the city, and she was well known in the community for her kindness and dedication. But she also had a reputation for standing up for herself, for not letting anyone push her around. Her strength, both physical and emotional, was something that few people understood but many respected. It started when a local police officer, Officer Mark Johnson, was under pressure to solve a string of robberies that had plagued the neighborhood for weeks. The crimes were petty, mostly involving stolen electronics and small appliances, but they were enough to stir fear in the community. And fear, as always, is a powerful motivator for those in positions of authority. Officer Johnson, desperate to solve the case and satisfy his superiors, began digging into the background of various people in the neighborhood. Jasmine, with her outspoken nature and occasional run-ins with the law over minor infractions, nothing serious, just traffic violations, caught his eye. He decided, without any real evidence, to target her. The decision was made quickly and, he thought, effortlessly. Officer Johnson and his colleagues forged an arrest warrant for Jasmine, accusing her of being involved in the recent robberies. They fabricated a story about surveillance footage showing her in the vicinity of a crime scene, a story that was entirely false. They figured, with her past and her presence in the area, it would be easy to make it stick. What they didn't count on was Jasmine's response. It was late evening when the police arrived at her flower shop. Jasmine was alone, finishing up a few arrangements for a wedding that was happening the next day. She heard the knock on her shop door and glanced up. Standing outside were two officers, Officer Johnson and his partner, Officer Lisa Grant. They flashed their badges, their faces unreadable. "Jasmine Carter," Officer Johnson said flatly, "we have a warrant for your arrest. You're under suspicion of involvement in recent robberies." Jasmine's eyebrows furrowed, the confusion in her eyes quickly turning to disbelief. "What are you talking about?" she asked, her voice steady but carrying an edge of defiance. "We have evidence that puts you at the scene of one of the crimes," Officer Grant added, her tone colder than usual. Jasmine's heart raced, but she refused to show any fear. She had dealt with prejudice and injustice her entire life, but something about this felt different. She knew something wasn't right. "You got the wrong woman," she said, her voice calm but firm. The officers stepped inside, looking around. They were confident, believing they were about to apprehend a criminal. But as they moved deeper into the shop, Jasmine made her move. "I know my rights," she said, her tone turning icy. "You have no right to be here without a valid warrant, and that warrant isn't valid. I know what you're doing and you're going to regret it." Officer Johnson's expression faltered for a moment. Jasmine had caught on, but it was too late. He nodded to Officer Grant, and they attempted to cuff her. Jasmine, however, wasn't going down without a fight. She didn't struggle violently, but she used her knowledge of self-defense to twist out of their hold. "Are you really going to try and arrest me based on lies?" she asked, her voice rising. "You've got no evidence, no facts, just your assumptions. Do you really think people like me are easy targets?" The officers paused, not expecting her to push back like this. Jasmine's words hung in the air, heavy with truth. They had underestimated her. Before they could react, Jasmine reached for her phone. In one smooth motion, she activated the video recorder. "I'm recording this. If you want to make a scene, we can do that. But I promise you, everything you're doing right now is illegal." The officers hesitated. The idea of being caught on camera wasn't one they had planned for. But Jasmine didn't stop there. "I'm going to make sure everyone knows about this. I'm going to make sure the whole world knows that you've tried to set me up. You think this is just about me? It's about all of us. It's about justice." The news spread quickly. Jasmine posted the video online, and within hours, it had gone viral. Her words struck a chord with people everywhere, especially in the Black community, who saw this as another case of systemic injustice and racial profiling. Protests erupted outside the police department, demanding accountability. The media picked up the story, and soon, Jasmine was everywhere, her face, her name, and her message. "I'm not your scapegoat." Officer Johnson and his colleagues were placed under investigation. The forged arrest warrant was discovered, and the officers were suspended pending the outcome of an internal review. The evidence against Jasmine was exposed as a fabrication, and the community rallied behind her, supporting her in ways that no one had expected. In the end, Jasmine didn't just fight back. She became a symbol of resistance, of standing up to power when it abuses its authority. She had shown them that she would not be intimidated. She had made them regret ever trying to drag her down, and in doing so, she had exposed the cracks in a system that had relied on lies and fear to maintain control. Her reaction had changed everything. And as for the officers involved, they were left to reckon with the consequences of their actions' consequences that would follow them for the rest of their careers. The community, too, would never forget how one woman's courage had made a difference. Jasmine walked into the courthouse months later, her head held high, not just as a woman seeking justice, but as a force that had shaken a broken system to its core. She knew that the road ahead wouldn't be easy, but she also knew that nothing worth having ever was. And for the first time in a long time, she felt hopeful.